This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the positive. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right. As always, Wednesday, it's showtime. Give everybody a couple of minutes to get situated. You get a lot of people that say, your intro's too long. There's like some dead air in the very beginning, and then there's takes about a minute before you get to hear me speak. I try to tell everybody there's a reason for that, because we are live, not pre-recorded, live. So by the time the signal gets out, we need to make sure the signal is getting out, making sure everything is turned on, turned up, ready to rock and roll, plus alert you that we're coming on so you don't miss a second of this damn exciting stuff. And that's why. So please bear with me. It's worth it. To most. Hope everybody's doing well. Last Sunday. You know, we haven't done shows on Sunday in almost 3 years. And it slips out every once in a while. Last Wednesday of the month, last show of the month, before we go into November. Shocking. Won't be here for Halloween, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, last show of the month of October, 2023. But tonight we got a great show. He hasn't been on in quite some time, and it was time for him to be on. And so he's here tonight with us. Former Red Pill Hardcore radio talk show host, those of you who are familiar with the show have possibly crossed paths and seen, because he's been on a good handful of times through the years. He's been in Poland for the past 7 years, and he's just making some changes, and things are changing, and I want to find out what's going on, what he's doing, how he's doing, and tell us what's going on from that side of the world, because again, they hear things differently than we do here. So it's important to be informed. So he's going to be on in a few minutes. Also, while I'm on the subject, next week, being that we are going to miss, Halloween is on a Tuesday, the 31st of October, and November 1st will be our first show of the month in November. So we are going to have a post-Halloween show. Post-Halloween. We'll be celebrating a Halloween show the day after Halloween, which is fine. Let everybody go have their fun on Halloween and all that kind of stuff. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, let's see. Oh, Donna. Hey, Donna. Long time no see, Donna. Some texts are coming in, comments. How's Donna? Let me get back to track here. Next week, November 1st, V is going to be back with us from tonight. He's going to join us one more time next week because, I got to tell you, for several years, he's been wanting to tell these stories. He's had some paranormal experiences that he said that'll blow my mind. And I'm going, yeah. Well, I'm going to let him have his day because he's been after me for at least 2 years now. He wants to talk about these personal paranormal experiences that he's had. And what better time to talk about them than Halloween? So we are going to have a post-Halloween show. V with his post-Halloween personal paranormal experiences, guaranteed to give you chills. We'll see what he's talking about. I didn't even let him tell me what they're about. I don't want to know. I said, Surprise me when it's time for the show. I want to know. And I trust him because I know he's not going to feed me a bunch of baloney. So that's what's happening next week, November 1st. Join us for Halloween, post-Halloween show with V and some personal paranormal experiences, which he claims are fact, folks. Fact. All right? Now, briefly, I want to touch on a couple of things, some that have happened within the past 2-3 days, a little bit of news, a little bit of current news, just before we get started. Let's start with this afternoon. This afternoon, I don't know if anybody's up on this, and this is why I do this, but we've been in shambles with not having a Speaker of the House. It's been a mess. The whole friggin' United States is a mess. Let's face it, it is. Woo! Smooth. Everybody's got different mixed opinions about what's going on with our country, who's great, who sucks, who's doing a wonderful job. You're full of baloney. I don't know a damn thing about what I'm talking about. All kinds of crap like that. So today, finally, they've been in shambles not having a Speaker of the House, the Republicans, which again, I'm sorry, I believe they're the better of both evils, but there's crap in everyone. There's crap in every side of that whole circus. There's a bunch of people that need to go from both sides. They need to be ousted, whatever. But this afternoon, they finally picked a Speaker of the House. I mean, they finally picked a Speaker of the House. 220 votes. I think they needed 217. They got 220 votes, and they picked a guy, and I know nothing about him, named Mike Johnson from Louisiana. And I heard him speak his acceptance speech, and he sounded well-spoken. I think he's going to make the libtards crazy, because I don't think he goes for that crap. So I'm looking forward to this. But, we need some common sense, and I'm tired of all these politicians, deal makers, talk from one side, it goes out the other, including, McCarthy. He was playing both sides of the fence. Again, there's so much crap going on, you don't know what is real anymore. There's just it's crap on top of crap on top of crap to where you don't know who to believe, what side to take. So I don't blame people when they're calling me names and thinking that they, that I'm full of baloney and I don't know a damn thing. It's like, okay, one day it'll all come out. And believe me, I'm the first to say that I will apologize for being wrong when and if you show me that I'm wrong. But half the time when you guys are screaming at me, nobody will come on to help me understand. So until then, we just keep going, and I get other people's opinions and narratives, and we just explore. I'm just merely offering information for you to decide. I'm not telling you it's fact and you got to go this way. I'm just offering information because I realize there's a lot of people that have no clue as to what's going on. They're just busy with their own lives, praying that everything's okay. Well, praying is a good start, but everything is not okay. Everything is not okay. But anyway, they picked the speaker, and his name is, just so you know, so now tomorrow you'll have a little more information. His name is Mike Johnson. He's from Louisiana. Seems like a well-versed guy, speaks well, but let's see. Put his hand on the Bible when he took his oath, and they didn't say, they said raise your right hand, but they didn't say and put your left hand on the Bible, but he did it anyway. So, I don't know. I believe in a little bit of structure. A couple of days ago, this is a kicker. A couple of days ago, you had to have heard this, and if you haven't, I'm telling you. An Alaskan airline pilot hitched a ride on a plane from San Francisco because he wanted to go back to his home base of Seattle. So a lot of pilots do this. They jump on a plane for free, they shuttle, and a lot of these pilots, they'll go sit in the cockpit on a jump seat so they can not hang out with the people and, regular people. They can go talk pilot talk, and just kind of sit back and be normal, be themselves in their own environment. So this 44-year-old pilot by the name of Joseph Emerson hitched a ride from San Francisco on Alaskan Airlines to catch a ride to Seattle. Well, they take off. Everything's cool. And then once they're climbing, they're going, trying to get up to wherever altitude they want to get. This guy decides to unbuckle his seatbelt from his jump seat and go to the emergency cutoff switches of the engines and proceeds to start flipping the covers, like they got safety covers and things like that, to flip them back so he can turn off the engines, which would mean the engine would die in midair and they would crash and die. One of the pilots caught him out the back of his eye getting up and stuff, and just kind of saw him and then saw what he was doing, jumped up. They subdued the guy. Nobody knew what the hell was going on, why this guy would right away we go terrorism. Here we go. Within the pilot, nobody knew what was going on. They jumped on him, they got him down, they radioed tower, said what happened. They don't really know what the reasoning being, and this guy's freaking out. He's just freaking out. Fast forward, he asked to be handcuffed. He says, because things are not going to go well. So they handcuffed him. And then they took him out of the cockpit. He calmly walked to the back of the plane with one of the flight attendants and this and that. They sat him down where he stayed there, but then attempted to try to open the back door. After they interviewed this guy, they find out this guy decided for the first time in his life to take mushrooms. And he started tripping on mushrooms in the cockpit. Like beyond, he did too much. Never did them before, did it. He's tripping his ass off, and he has no idea what the hell he's doing, but he's doing something for some reason within his own mind, and almost killed almost 100 people in that plane because he was trying to shut the engines off. Needless to say, I don't think he's going to be flying anymore. I think that's he just wasted his career. So, just so you know. Be careful when you do mushrooms, okay? Because they're easily available, like San Francisco, Seattle. It's all, you can buy them, no problem. But there's consequences with everything, folks, with drugs. If you're going to do drugs, stay home. stay home. That's all I get. You heard it here first, folks. Anyway, lastly, this past week, I've been telling you I've been getting taken down from, I don't have it here, from, I do. Hang on a second. I've been getting shadow banned, canceled, and taken down from these guys right here. Okay? These guys have been watching me like a hawk. Last week, right after last week's show, they took down last week's show. And then a couple days later, they dug deep and they took down a show from 2020. And then last night, I wake up this morning only to find out they took down a show from 2021. I am not kidding when I tell you people to please subscribe all over the place for me. Follow me in different places, because if I disappear off of this platform, which I really don't want to do, I want you to find me somewhere else, please. I'm not saying this stuff, because I have nothing better to do. They're real. They're watching. They got to stick up their butt for me for some reason. I'm not that bad. But they got it, and they're doing this. So I love these. I love this platform. I do, because it's your general person's platform. I use it all the time. I need to fix something. I look it up right there. You want to watch the Peter G Show? Right there. But we're on a bunch of different places too, from BitChutes to Rumbles to Facebook, LinkedIn, X/Twitter, 25 different podcast audio only platforms: Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, you name it. So that's why I have to keep saying this, because new people come in every day and don't understand. But they are giving me a hard time. I still want you to subscribe to this platform too. We got it because they're not letting me be seen, so I need your help to keep the numbers going up, please. All right? Thank you. Thank you. Now, in just about 2 minutes, we're going to be bringing V on. That's a fact. But first, where are we? Before we bring V on, I need to have a word from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving, fuel economy DX1 driver fuel additive. All right, so I'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Thompson of CleanStarProducts.com. This is DX1 Driver in the news, and here's what our friends have to say.
So I'm here to recap on the DX1 I've used. I put it in the oil and I put it in the gas. While I'm using it just for about 3 tanks. Cleaned everything out. I got every ounce of power back in my truck.
When Jared's truck was new, it had a lot of power. Then over time, it began to slow down. He got it all back with our DX1 driver program.
Something you got to see for yourself. It's a great product. It's affordable. And it blows all the other additives and that's just out of the water.
DX1 Driver is the finest oil in the world from a California environmental company. It goes into the fuel system and the oil. It's the only green grade product qualified for the carbon credits program, giving you better fuel mileage, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. So join the fuel savings revolution today. Go to cleanstarproducts.com/shop.
That's right, folks. Clean Star Products. All I can tell you is they have a product that works. Let's face it, gas is super expensive. Cars are expensive. Why not take care of your car and save money? All right. Cleaner emissions, more horsepower, up to 10% better fuel economy. Clean Star Products. I'll tell you what, go to www.cleanstarproducts.com. There's a phone number on their site. Call them directly. They will talk to you, answer any questions you have. And when you're making your order, they will talk to you and tell them that you saw it on the Peter G Show. Because if you tell them that, they're going to give you a special bonus with your order. CleanStarProducts.com, right there, and they will talk to you. Good people with a good product. And that's what I got to say about that. I like you a lot. All right. I haven't seen this guy or talked to him very much because he's been busy and I've been busy and life gets busy. And before you know it, a year goes by and that's how it goes. And finally, we got back up with each other. And I said, listen, it's about time, I think, for you to catch up. I got questions from your side of the woods. And then he's got a lot of changes going on in his life also. So I said, will you come on the show? And he said, yeah, just give me a little time. We worked it out, and he's going to be here. So right now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, B. How's it going?
Doing all right. How you doing?
I'm all right. Just had to get the band back up to give you the intro.
That's great. Yes. Great show. People don't understand what you do, what we do takes a lot of work, and I've been turning interviews down left and right, but because not only because you're my friend, but you're a great host, you actually put the effort and quality that makes me always want to be seen on your show. You're a good guy, and what can I say?
No.
For the production value is great.
Yeah. I tell you about how we do that. We polish that thing, right? You know, that production value. But I'm so misunderstood, but yet we're still here. So I'm grateful for every day. But I want to know, because you haven't been on in quite a long time, for real quick, why don't you tell everybody, reintroduce yourself? A lot of newbies to the show. A lot of stuff's been happening since the last time you were on. So reintroduce yourself. Tell them who you are, what you do, and what you've been doing, and what you're going to be doing. Or we'll get into all that. But just introduce yourself for that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm someone. Well, I guess you could say I'm quite the intelligent guy. Someone who was targeted by the U.S. government because they wanted me to come and work for them again. And I said no, repeatedly. So they began to target me because geniuses don't like for... the government doesn't like for geniuses to be at their own play and be involved with their own devices. You either work for a corporation or you work for the government when you have an IQ that I have. So throughout my targeting, I started figuring things out. I data mined the NSA. I figured out a lot how the technology works, how they target people. And I started a radio show to help expose this sort of thing. Then I made 7 documentaries explaining how these covert operations and the targeting works, how the technology works. I have been mostly free of the targeting ever since I started my putting out my documentaries. So it's been about almost coming up about 5 years now. I was targeted for 4 years previously, but I'm one of few people that can say that they actually escaped the self-termination program.
Self-termination. I like this.
Yes,
Yeah.
self-execution. Yes, suicide.
But you started out. You were actually in the actual military, correct?
I was.
Yeah, and then you got out. But I mean, so the past how many years you've been doing the red? You just recently left the Red Pill Hardcore show. How many years were you a talk show host for that?
Well, I want to say 7 years I've been doing the show. I didn't leave the show. I'm still the host.
Oh,
I'm hiatus right now because I have other platforms I have to grow.
okay.
Speaking of which, TLBTalk.com, the Freedom of Speech new social network. And that's kind of why I'm back here in California. That's why I'm back in the States.
Okay, and you just got here.
I've been here for a little over a week.
Okay. You just got here. Yeah, that's enough. But the whole thing was when I spoke to you, you were in Poland. I had no idea that you were making some transitions and had some other external plans going on. And I said, well, I kind of want you from your perspective, your perspective from Poland, because you hear and see things and hear things from a way different approach than we do over here. And, I always liked that aspect because we are fed so much garbage in time. And so, being that you're only here a week, I'm pretty sure not a whole lot has changed, hopefully.
Not a lot has changed, I don't think. But I would actually like to, before we start officially, can I comment on that airplane pilot?
Sure.
Okay, so I am a self-proclaimed psychological warfare expert. I mean, I beat the NSA at all their ops, all the games. So I think I can safely say I know what I'm talking about here. So when the pilot, supposedly on drugs, supposedly on mushrooms, yes, people do weird things when they're on shrooms. Typically, when there's a freak out, you become, I want to say, more defensive. You want to get away from the situation. I've seen people freak out and run into the woods to safety. I think, it's a common story. People do that. But they tend to get away from what they perceive as a danger. Now, when you have someone on any psychedelics or any kind of uppers, amphetamines, things like that, and they become aggressive, that's a telltale sign that this person is underneath an op, aka being targeted. So the CIA, especially the NSA, has experimented endlessly with people on drugs. Okay? Frequency manipulation, because they have psychoactive signals they can beam into someone's skull and make them freak out, creating auditory and visual hallucinations. I mean, they can do that to a person who's sober, but it's highly effective to someone who's on drugs. So you run the risk of becoming a remote Manchurian candidate when you do drugs. It's not suggested. There have been experiments, and there's the idea that because they have this neural cloud network, which we're all connected to via these frequencies and our plasma-sized atmosphere with the chemtrails, we're all connected. So that's why Big Pharma was pushed to do put out Adderall and Ritalin, things like that. Okay, especially for those who had behavioral problems. They saw the effect. Okay, when the CIA put out crack to the black communities, heightened brain activity, which made it easier to map their neural processes, literally brain mapping remotely, and saw how easy it was to get these people paranoid and turn up their addictions and turn them to more criminal activity. And so that's why we have a methamphetamine problem in the country now.
Wait a minute, back it up. Hang on. So you don't think that drugs are just super addictive, and if they pass them out, however they get it, that people just get addicted to drugs and do stupid stuff?
I would say those who are lower intelligence could. I mean, for example, you hear about alcoholics, but people that run the world, your CEOs, your Speaker of the House, these are alcoholics. So there's functional alcoholics. There are functional drug addicts.
Right.
Okay, so
right.
Behavior can largely be manipulated by so many factors that are unseen by the eye. So I just want people to understand there's a whole different side to whenever you hear people freak out on drugs and it's in the news, just think about what I said. Okay.
Wait. But so you're going to tell me that this guy just didn't happen to, he wanted to, I want to, just check it out, screwed up, got on a plane. It hit him way harder than he ever thought he ever did. And there's no turning back at that point. And it was just a pure screw up on his part. You don't think it was that?
Well, I mean, think about what it takes to become a pilot to begin with. You've got to be intelligent. You have to be responsible. You have to care about your safety and everybody else's safety. You in general, you're going to be, top quality kind of a person. However, if someone's taking drugs on their off times, I think someone like that, no, this is not something that you do at work or anywhere near your work. So this is another sign that he's under instructions to continue to do what he's doing.
But he was off duty, just catching a ride. And when you talk about pilots being responsible, how many times have you heard in the news about pilots being drunk when they were flying?
Absolutely. Alcoholism is just one of those things that people think they can get away with.
Right.
And of course, mistakes happen. But when you have people on hardcore drugs and they happen to be, someone freaking out, chances are there's an outside influence.
Well, see, that to me, that's the problem. I don't think that anybody thinks that mushrooms, because they're legalizing it, and I think it's too soon, and without any kind of, any type of, putting limits on certain things. And there's what do you want to call it? Under constraints and having a, to have it, holy moly, so they make sure that nobody's overdoing it, underdoing it, a little more consistency. And, people are thinking they're legalized in Seattle. You can buy it in San Francisco. It's right there, readily available. I mean, so they think that it's not a big deal. It's a, it's a mind opening, benefit of some sort, which it is to a certain extent until you go over the deep end and you think your face is melting and you can fly and jump off a building.
Project Artichoke. Okay, so CIA had scientists who helped come up with the LSD. He was one of the first people to die from LSD, not from an overdose, but because he thought he could fly and, he jumped through a window and crashed to his death. However, that seemed to be just a cover-up. And I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy because the government ended up paying the family. So it's a hush-up situation. So, I mean, that's how you establish these things, though. This is how you establish something or someone is dangerous. You have to control the narrative.
Well, they got. I think then they got their work cut out because drugs and all this fentanyl and all this problems that are going on is overwhelming at this point. And I mean, this country, you know, the borders. I've been bitching about this. You were talking about brain waves and audible waves, and you know, a few weeks ago I did like this show, a little bit of a goof about the emergency alert system. Did you have that in Poland too?
No.
Okay, so you've heard growing up, because you grew up in the United States, you remember back in the day that you'd be watching TV and it says, this is a test. For the next 60 seconds, this station will conduct a test of the emergency broadcast system, and then you hear, you hear something and a bunch of screeching, and okay. They've been talking about this for weeks and weeks, that they were going to have it, they call it the emergency alert system now. Let me switch. So they call it the emergency alert system, and it was going to go off on every single cell phone and television, mobile device, everything. And they were going to do it on a certain day at a certain time for a couple of minutes, but the test was going to last on and off for about 30 minutes. And everybody was freaking out because they're going, this is a test, something's going to happen to us, from that test going off. And I played along with the goof, and I caught hell from it because some people thought I was serious. And I play, and I talked about it last week, but everybody thought that they were going to be mind altered and things like that. And I eventually tried to tell people that test was, as far as I'm concerned, just to make sure that everything works in synchronization. But they can turn audible waves and frequencies on anywhere in the United States anytime they want, and you'll never know the difference because you can't see them. But this is what's going on, and I caught hell for it because I showed a picture of CNN at a zombie parade, and I said even CNN just reported on the after effects, and I showed these people dressed up as zombies, and everybody's like, "That's not real." Like,
fake news.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It's not real. It was a joke. It's called not sarcasm. It's just political satire.
Well, the thing is, they actually did that. It wouldn't be the first time. I remember.
First time what?
That they've done this sort of test.
Sure, but they talked about it for weeks and weeks, like it was some big deal that we needed to be aware of and be. They scared everybody.
Okay, so I know it's in bad taste to reference a Hollywood movie, but then again, Hollywood has a lot of secrets, and they like to prepare us psychologically for our own. Well, it's a process of brainwashing.
Yeah.
Accepting disaster when it happens because you already knew and you should have known better, but it's just a way to supplicate the masses to get us to know things ahead of time, even though we don't know it. So, but I want to reference a movie called The Kingsman: Secret Service.
Yeah.
The entire plot of the movie. This is a more recent movie, past, I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, the plot of the movie is some cell phone mogul gets people to get an implant in their ear, in their skull, so they can have a cell phone wherever they are. They can make calls, just no matter what. Well, you find out in the movie that, not to spoil it for people, but testings was done and a lot of people died. I'll just put it that way. Instant behavioral modification. So
I believe it. I just, people don't understand, and they were freaking out, thinking something at that point in moment, like they're telling you. I said they're going to do something if they ever do something, and they're not going to tell you. They're just going to, they're going to sit back and see what happens. And that's the way it goes. I mean, we're all vibrational frequencies. Our bodies are.
Well, I mean, so much science fiction is in the movies, but how much of that is still science fiction?
Well, yeah.
Where technology is booming at an alarming rate. I can't warn you guys enough. I mean, not even Elon Musk could warn you guys enough.
Dick Tracy, years ago, growing up as a kid, used to talk to his watch. Star Trek, communicators on their lapels, talking to a computer that talked back to them. It's all here, almost, except for I don't know. And there might be the beam me up Scotty stuff, but we'll talk about that another time. I got a lot of stuff I kind of want to get to.
Okay.
But I want to ask you a quick question. Being that you're borderline in Poland with Ukraine, how the refugee situation's going on over there?
Now that's a sore subject with me. It breaks my heart because it's a covert genocide. Okay? When I say that, I'm not talking about the Russians. I'm not talking about Ukrainians, at least not the white ones anyways. If you're a white Ukrainian, you're let over the border. Poland, just come right in. If your skin is dark, you're told to turn back. And if you don't turn back, you are shot dead by the border guard. Bodies upon bodies are stacking up in the swamps.
Who's border guard?
Nobody knows this.
Who's border guard?
Poland. Poland's
Really?
border guard will kill you. If you are Indian, African, you want to talk about a closed border for anybody who's not white.
Let's try to talk about this stuff without actually talking about this stuff, just so that way I can make sure it airs.
Okay. So there's been a lot of racist speeches, a lot of rhetoric. In this modern times that we have, I have read articles. I've had articles brought to me with Polish politicians saying, do not let these Africans in. They carry diseases, and most of them are criminals.
But Poland, I thought, was pretty open. I mean, I just saw a thing on Poland on how low their crime is and how good life is without worrying about a lot of the normal crap that you have to go through.
Well, I think it's because the low injustice party is kind of controlling things. I mean, you have, I don't want to call them skinheads, although that's mainly the people who would subscribe to that party. I mean, on the surface and society, just being there,
Yeah.
it's great. It's wonderful.
Uh-huh.
People wave at me. Hey, Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Hey, come over here. Come buy us a beer. Let's go drinking.
Yeah.
The children absolutely just love me. They'll wave, they'll, just the smilingness. The parents, actually encourage it. Hey, go wave at him. Don't see this guy,
Go see if he's got a spleef.
Go, and the parents love it. The kids love it. It's a wonderful society. Polish people are great. However, it's a Catholic country. Let me start there. Okay, I was sickened. You had these rallies with women, pro choice women, and you've got these skinheads that come out of nowhere, and they're literally just punching females in the face, kicking the crap out of everybody. So, I mean, in a place where Poland's not liberal, I wouldn't call it a liberal place. I would call it conservative, but it is. There's a super neo-Nazi conservative element that is. It's just nasty.
But wait a minute, but here's the thing, because I gotta keep rolling, because again, I know how time flies. My point being that what we hear over here, all we get is we need more money, we need more money, we need more money to send to Zelensky, because they need more money to keep doing the good fight and this and that. And I hear through little peeps and things, it's like, it's over. Like, when is the last time they showed you any pictures of anything going on? And without saying stuff, like I said, I want you to tell me what the hell is going on over there that we're needing to send billions more, like we're just crapping out money to them, so they're not stashing it and buying houses, all of them in government over there.
Okay, so I tell you. So okay, my significant other, she's always bringing this kind of stuff to me, always asking me questions, even though she's the one that has a degree in political science. So okay, you follow the money. You follow the money. You have, and I'm going to speak from a perspective of living in Poland, just to keep out the other stuff of Russia, Ukraine. But being in Poland, and I'll tell you right now, Poland, the politicians there are just, they're as sly as they come. Okay, they could be in British Parliament or in the Senate or Congress in the States. They are sly dogs, and yes, they know how to get the money. Poland itself likes to get UN money, likes to get European Union money, excuse me, and they'll take as much as they can get without having to conform to any of the EU's rules. So they have a way of sucking in money, and one thing they're doing right now with the money is the integration of these so-called refugees, getting Ukrainians jobs. I liken it to my experience in the States. When I was much younger, going through hard times, I found myself in line to go and get food stamps, right? I'd show up, at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whenever this government facility was open, right on time. But I show up, there's 100, I don't want to seem racial here or racially insensitive, but there's people of Latino persuasion, there's 100 people in line. Most of them are females, most of them having some sort of baby carriers, roller, and then children circling that. It's like two other black people and one white person. It's like, okay, this is what's affecting our economy right now. This is why I can't get a job right now. This is, and I went down that train of thought for a while and just discovered that it really was very difficult for me to do what I need to do. Poland's becoming a lot like that. There's a lot of Polish that don't like what's going on because the Ukrainians are given. They're being able to cut into the lines. All services are primed towards helping Ukrainians first. So Polish people, and even myself as a resident, would be pushed back to a second and third class citizen. So I can understand why there's all this money grab. There's a lot of money grab. That's just one aspect of it. I mean,
Okay, but wait a minute, hang on. Because, look, I don't know. I know you're not here. Our border is a friggin' mess. I was going to tell you, if you were going to come back into this country, you should have just come through the border. You would get $2,000 a month, a free cell phone, free health care, and all that. You know, while our veterans and people who have Social Security are getting about $1,200 a month, and who've worked all their lives to put into it. So, I mean, we got that problem. But my thing
guess who's
is,
paying for it?
well, of course, yeah, of course. I mean, they're killing us with it. We're getting overrun, and now it's a threat. It's becoming a threat because they're finally realizing, and all the sanctuary states are screaming. If you're up, in the northern part of California or whatever, you'll start figuring it out because it's a mess. It's a shithole over there. It just is. But I'm hearing that the fight that's going on over there in the Crane is kind of over. Like they've not won nothing, it's over, but yet we keep on telling us that we're still fighting the good fight and send more money.
Well, the thing is, Russia is flexing right now. They're doing nuclear testing. They're getting more personnel to their facilities with their nuclear technology. They're flexing. That's something that the Russians have always done. It's just the fight between the West and Russia. It's the money that's being poured in, and it will continue to pour in. For one reason, is to keep us distracted from what's going on in Israel. That's what people should be actually worried about. Yeah. What Israel's doing to Palestine, to all its neighbors, not just name one. What Israel's doing to all its neighbors. Again, we're paying for that. We seem to be paying for everything, and because we become such a rich and powerful nation, and people around the world have their idea of what an American is. Rich American. I mean, in Poland, you wouldn't believe how many people would just hear me talk and then immediately ask me for money. Rich Americans, but that's not the case. Americans are struggling, and we're being made to struggle so that we can't fight any of this stuff. Nobody knows. You have such a media blackout. Okay. When I moved from the States to Poland, and we actually had BBC on with the cable that we had that I did not keep for very long. But I would watch some of the BBC news, and it astounded me. News coming from the Middle East, news coming from Africa. You're never going to turn on CNN in America and find out what some covert op group is doing to some village in Africa. You're never going to hear about it.
Never.
So there's that media blackout. Americans think that they're so well informed, but they're not. I mean, you gotta to be the slightest of being informed. You have to go and search for that information yourself, and even then, you have to contrast that with something else and vet the truth. Be able to discern the truth. But I'm just astounded just how much information does not get to Americans. You're not going to get a lot of information coming from, Eastern Europe. Unless, you go to RT News, that's a pretty decent news source, if I would say. call me a commie or something, whatever you want, but again, you've got to contrast the information and see what's actually happening, because the U.S. government is guaranteed 100% to lie to you about everything.
Okay, but wait. But this is my point, because people were so used to, in the past, for the most part, getting news that was assumed to be pretty realistic. And I only recently found out about the Smith-Mund Act. The Obama repealed a law that, news agencies, it was the Smith-Mund Act of 1948 or something like that, and he repealed it in 2012, of news agencies having to be accurate within a certain reason, not spewing so much propaganda, but he repealed it. And this is why everybody's just going rabid, just saying whatever they want to push, and we're believing it because we grew up trusting the news, thinking we're not Iran, we're not being fed a bunch of crap, this has got to be real. Now trying to turn people around and saying this is baloney, they're looking at you going like, you're crazy.
Well, yeah, that's why people kept saying Obama legalized propaganda. Yeah, the propaganda machine. And it's not just it being propaganda, but it's getting you to accept the unacceptable. Okay? For example, Dylan Mulvaney, right? This so-called transgender person. He's failed at every attempt to get society to like him. Has that stopped the corporations from giving him promotions? I mean, he was just named Woman of the Year by some stupid magazine.
We are getting dumber by the month.
So it's going to be in your face no matter what. Something society will not accept, but it's going to be in your face, and it's about your defeat. It's going to be in your face, in your face, in your face, in your face, until you accept it. Or at least you have no power to say that that's not real. And it's getting to that point. I mean, you have so many people out there, so many Americans, support Palestine. But that goes against the narrative, right?
Right.
We're hearing that 100 Israelis were killed, and the news is on fire with it. But thousands of Palestinians are killed every week. So mainstream news is no good. So the only thing you can do is follow the money, and which is what's brilliant about the show and this episode, especially, is you're asking about the money.
But this is everything is, again, you can't, because people are the ones raising hell here, supporting. I was catching hell from Pepsi on a few things a few weeks ago, because I just don't like anything radical with the name radical. I don't like barbaric things, and I do have issues with barbaric radicalism and radical religion and things like that, because I know there's a lot of peace-loving people that just want to get along. Problem is, there is a lot of stuff going on in the background, and the golden, people that, things they're building up to make it look like, we're so good. I know there's a lot of stuff going on behind that, but good luck trying to find that and explain it to people, and then you're going to be criticized no matter how you look at it. Somebody's going to go against you and say you're full of baloney. And so I'm just, I'm not that good. I'm just here to try to open people's eyes to look around and just not take in what they take in. But that's why I'm asking you these things from your perspective over there a little bit. But unfortunately, I just got to keep moving, and we're still going to stay within this stuff. But I did a show not too long ago on the fires of Maui, and which caught a lot of people's attention. And people pretty much understood, because I was explaining things about, I just don't believe what the explanation was, and I'm trying to step around things now because I've gotten so far so good. I don't want to lose traction, but I believe there's a lot of stuff swept under the rug, and the real reasons were, and climate change does not start fires, as far as I'm concerned, and I believe that we have things that instigated these issues. I just happened to pick up a video, since we're talking about Israeli, this Israel and all this kind of stuff. They were showing a military ship that our government, and they're saying it's a new weapon, but it's probably been around for who knows how long. I want you to check out this video real quick, and it's a video on what they claim to be one of their newest weapons, that I think has been around a long time. And I feel it probably something similar to this played a big, big part in what's going on. So just check this out.
The U.S.'s new laser-firing aircraft carrier is off the coast of Israel. How it works will blow your mind. Let me explain. The USS Gerald R. Ford is home to one of the world's first laser cannons. This new technology operates with unbeatable precision, like a laser pointer. What sets it apart is its pinpoint accuracy, allowing it to target specific areas like a ship's engine without causing damage to the other parts of a ship. What's truly remarkable is its stealth. Not only is it silent, but it's invisible. If enemies are hit, it will come as a complete surprise. The lasers can obliterate moving targets on land, water, or in the air. But how does it actually work? This laser weapon system generates a precise infrared beam from a solid-state laser array. Its key advantage lies in its lightning-fast response, as the laser travels at the speed of light. If there's any threat, they'll be gone in less than a second. These lasers can fire multiple shots without the need for traditional ammunition, offering a significantly lower cost per shot.
Let's face it, we're in the Star Wars era, and if they're telling us this stuff, imagine the stuff that they have that they're not telling us, correct?
Okay, so I don't know if I should be using certain words here. I don't want this episode to be taken down.
Yeah, just watch it. Just watch it.
Well, okay. So you have Project Star Wars. You already said it. It's been around for ages. We have anti-ballistic defenses put in now. Okay? Laser weaponry. So I had Dr. Gregory Ford on my show. He was ex-DOD. He, he was Army intelligence, and he told me a lot of things, especially about 9/11, which also had usage of directed energy. We'll call them DEWs.
Yeah.
DEWs. Okay.
Well,
These
that
are
word
DEWs.
that word picks up a lot of attention too. So just whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, so we've had DEWs since forever. I do believe the first of these weapons, I mean, again, psychoactive signals, not physical interacting, physical damage. The stuff started with the Russians and the Russian woodpecker signal. They created an array which blanketed our part of the hemisphere, our hemisphere, to subdue Americans. Because we were on the warpath, picking a war with everybody. Russia didn't want war. So that is the first instant of a DEW that I know of. Okay, the Cold War was not about nuclear technology. The Cold War was about finding other weapons other than nuclear. And so you have these DEWs. We'll call them remote weapons. How about that?
The thing is, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was saying, and people said you're crazy. There was high winds going on in Maui, and and had a bad storm. And, they said it was an electrical, down line that started it, which was way over another area. And then everybody has seen the pictures. There's lots of speculation and talk on how did this not do anything? How did the glass melt? How did aluminum melt? It needs certain temperatures. And I'm saying, I wish I had some fire experts, knowing that there's tons of people that understand fire marshals and that understand what it takes to do what. And you and I had to talk about the fire in Paradise just yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, which I didn't even take into consideration, but things are going on that aren't as they may seem. And I'm a firm believer of that, because we are just blind to all this, because you would think, why would anybody do this? But I have another video, because I've had people going, you're full of crap. I've seen many. I live on a ranch. We've seen wildfires and things happen. But this guy is a fire arborist expert, and he explains real quick because he went back to and I'm reverting back to Maui because so many people have taken interest on my show about that. But this is a fire expert real quick.
I've been to 38 fire aftermaths and taken 107 trips to all of them, collecting evidence at every site. I saw this picture of Santa Rosa, California, the Jack in the Box, McDonald's, and a gas station. But what I see is the trees. All of them did not burn. And how did a fire cross a freeway? This is in Maui now. Nothing, I mean nothing added up. This is the same stuff exactly that I've seen in California. Here, a home's on fire and nothing else. And I believe that's because of all the metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, that are in a house. Many of the top fire people know exactly what's going on. When you don't see the forest burn, but yet houses are, and some of these materials don't burn, I believe most of these fires are microwave based. The cars, they all look like this. Now the auto glass melts approximately at 2,500 degrees. Forest fires don't get that hot. Forest fire goes up to 1,400. You're not getting above those temperatures.
Yes. So, yeah, as you had said, I was talking to you about Paradise. I would like for people to actually look at those pictures. It was a very small area. I think maybe 4 or 5 blocks of residential area. But if you take a look, you'll see like the grass, the yards, where it'll be burned, and then there's grass on the other side that burn, but it's a line. You'll see trees that were bisected. Now, I'm not talking about across, but down the middle, ashen, burned, and then there's the other part of the tree that's untouched. So, I myself, now that I'm back in the area, it's funny that happened, because I had just visited Paradise before moving to Poland. But now that I'm back, Paradise is maybe, 10, 15 minute drive away from me. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to that particular area, if I can. It's been so long, but I doubt it'll be roped off or anything. But
No,
I'm going to take as many pictures as humanly possible. I'm going to do what should be part 2, because I already did an expose on this. It was controlled fire and by an exotic remote weapon.
But again, I think it's an atrocity. I mean, what has been done, and over in on the islands, they took everything out, and they as quickly as possible they kept everybody away, didn't say anything, little information, little to none, walled it off. They came up with miles and miles of blackened fence, and now they're sweeping everything under the rug as quickly as possible.
What does that sound like to you? What other time in history did that happen? 9/11. That was in the middle of a lot of people could still observe. Like, the island is so far away, and there's no talking. But you want to talk about evidence collecting? The FBI came and vacuumed that place up quicker than you would believe.
That's a whole nother can of worms, which I
but But this is the same thing, though. So,
right.
less people you have viewing what's going on, the more of the narratives you can control. So, I mean, I'd say follow the money because how it's done, I think is pretty obvious. To me, it's pretty obvious. It was done on purpose. But why? So, you've got a whole island. Well, I mean, Hawaii is, for islands, heavily populated. You know, you've got new generations of rich people who want to live there. It would pay an exorbitant amount of money to do so.
And they do.
So, forget the people who've been living there since the 40s, 50s, 60s. You know, these old houses that were probably, I don't know.
Yeah, these are the old.
And maybe $1 million now. But you burn that house down and you build something in its place, you can charge 100 times that.
Oh yeah, yeah. The area that burned was a small part, the opposite side of the island from the tourist industry, old town, like an old town where all the locals lived, and then they drove 40 minutes to go to work every day or whatever in the hotels and resorts and all that. And it's an atrocity. I mean, Oprah caught hell for being, just trying to show her ass, get all the attention like she's doing something. And The Rock, I don't know if you caught any of that. They put together this nonprofit that was already a nonprofit that they changed the name. And I'm really getting to believe that nonprofits are the biggest money-making schemes for people who are the CEOs and all that. They line their pockets just like BLM and all the other ones.
I said that for years.
What a scam.
I'll tell you what, when I would see the commercials on TV, a small child, and the starving children, like, hey mom, let's go send some money. And she taught me what a scam was.
Yeah.
I was a small child. Oh, okay. So yeah, let's not do that. Charities, I don't even believe in any kind of charities anymore. If you want to help somebody, do it directly.
But the thing is that there's this big talk. I don't know if you're up on it, but there was this big talk that Oprah purchased like 1,000 acres right before, in March, and all hillside. I hear talk that there's lithium in the mountains over there, all kinds of stories. I don't know what to believe, but I do believe that wasn't a natural event, and it's just so horrid that what's going on. And it's happening in other parts of the world too. There's fires in Turkey. There's fire, all kinds of stuff like that. They're doing it everywhere.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. If there's minerals found, you're gonna have people try. If people know about it, yeah, I mean, they're not gonna give up their land. They're not. They're gonna try to buy their own mineral rights. Because you don't just own the land that you're on. That's just the surface. There are air rights. There are underground mineral rights, which have to be purchased if you really want to own it. So, and it's a good thing, but you can't access those mineral rights if somebody is on top of it already, as far as I know.
Well, what happened in Paradise? I mean, why there?
Now, that is a question that I've not been able to answer. However, there are clues. In my investigation, you have these names. Now, I don't remember. I mean, this is 5-6 years ago. But I did a report on it, and the way it was burned kind of looks like a triangle, like a pyramid. And then you have to look at the street names. They're sort of esoteric. I'm going to have to go back and look at this. I should have been more prepared.
It was all about it wasn't accidental. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and so, the government likes to do testing, but then again, they also like to sign their work. The Illumintards love to to sign their work. So from one Illumitar to another, they can look at something and say, oh yeah, we did that. They're proud. They think they're so smart that no one's ever going to figure it out. These secret society jackholes, they think they're just freaking brilliant. They've been escalated to just divine thought and knowledge, and they're unapproachable. And it's garbage. These people are sucking on their own delusion.
Wow. Look, I don't know if because we're really out of, I'm running way over. I want to, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but I've actually, we've contacted each other because I think he's pretty brilliant too. His name is Sean Webb, and he's got this site called Mind Hacking Happiness. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I don't know what his background is, but it's something deep like what you're into. I just want to give you a little video because I see him a lot, and right now I tried to get him on the show, but he's finishing up a book and he's busy, and he's like Joe Rogan guest status. And so, little old me, but I'll get him. It's just a matter of time. But check this guy out, and I want you to tell me, because he talks so fast, but you'll understand his lingo.
All right, so let's talk about the CIA's documents on the Gateway Protocol and the other non-local consciousness technologies, including the mystery of the famed page 25 of the Monroe Report. I have to laugh a little bit every time somebody says something about the government being behind some mass conspiracy. Not that that stuff can't occur, because we all know it can, but people like to talk about the government and them and they controlling things that the government has absolutely no idea how to control. And I've seen inside the government. I know how incompetent they are. Even on secret projects, I know how incompetent they can be because they silo everything so that if someone leaks something, you only get a little bit of it, which doesn't allow anybody to work together with anybody else and get anything done. The page 25 from the CIA's report on the Monroe Institute, the page that everyone thought was CIA redacted, the last page got left on the copier. It doesn't say anything, and in fact, the whole project is simply a result of the government finding themselves behind the 8 ball and understanding non-local consciousness and trying to hire someone to put together a training program so they can access non-local consciousness. And decades later, because they're so incompetent, they're still behind the 8 ball. Stop giving your power away to some imaginary boogeyman. Your internal research could lap them easily. Subscribe if you want the secrets.
Incompetence. I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree and disagree. Okay, so you have something called social engineering. And that's everything comes underneath that when you are in control. Politics, medicine, food, everything. So that's government. So there is always someone behind something. Okay? There's not a lot of room for accident, especially when you have trillions and trillions of dollars going into the infrastructure that is there to keep you in check. So, however, there is a deal of incompetence. I'm living proof of that. Again, I data mined the NSA. I figured out a lot of how their technology works. Yes, I've got documentaries on this stuff. Again, I made 7 documentaries that covers pretty much everything that we're talking about today. It's going to be relevant for the next, I don't know, for as long as humanity can last under this technocracy. But incompetence, yes, and that is through their arrogance. They didn't think anybody would be able to figure what I figured it out. I've actually had former government scientists contact me, and I've contacted them, and I literally had to tell them what their job was about. Because the compartmentalization was so extreme. I've had to connect them to other people, and just watching their minds explode from what I tell them, it's amazing it's amazing to me that they didn't figure this stuff out. So
this video that I played you, that's just one example of him, but he's all about altering your mind, adjusting, he's all about the mind, mind control. He's pretty interesting. Sean Webb is his name. Again, he's got you Google it. He's got a website, Mind Hacking Happiness, and books and things like that. But his background is deep also. But he's pretty. I don't know. He's pretty interesting.
He seems to be about neuro-linguistic programming, from what I'm picking up, and that's a load of from the way he's pushing his particular narrative there. It's to ignore reality and to make yourself happy. Forget about this stuff, and I just can't do that.
Well, I know, kind of, but I mean, that's only one little video, and he's got a gazillion of them, and so there's all these little parts. I'm just saying that he's a step above the normal thinking. That's all I can say. Whether you agree or not is another story. But look, dude, we're as always running over when you're on the show. And what I want to do is real quick. Next week you're going to be visiting us again one more time, because for 2 years now you've been on my ass about wanting to tell these paranormal stories around Halloween time. Can you, like, very, very briefly tell everybody what next Wednesday, November 1st, post day after Halloween, what the hell are we going to be kind of talking about? Quickly.
Well, madness, insanity, put into a little bottle to make you believe it.
Okay, that's I don't understand, but that's why we're gonna have to, that's why we're doing this section.
I don't understand it either, but we'll talk about it.
All right, well, that's what's going to happen. So next week, Wednesday, November 1st, you are going to join us one more time to have a post-Halloween paranormal experiences conversation, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, and these are all your experiences or just things that you know?
All my experiences personally.
Okay, so you heard it here first, folks. Wednesday, November 1st, V's going to return, but we're talking specifically about personal paranormal experiences day after Halloween, post-Halloween show right here. So, cool. All right, look, I appreciate you. I know coming on. I know that you just arrived back into the United States. Welcome back to chaos. And you got a lot of things trying to get reset up, and reconnected to the States.
I've already been through my first Karens and transgenders. I've only been here for like a week and a half.
What do you have?
I'm sorry?
What's the matter? What are you learning?
I said I've already run into my Karens and my transgenders. I've only been here for a week and a half.
They don't have them over there?
No, not so much.
Huh. Go figure.
None that I saw.
Wow.
But
yeah, well,
every place is a little different. I've never seen a little person in the United States ever. A little person.
A little person. What we used to call back in the day.
I'd see one like every 6 months. A different one. So.
Well. Maybe you need to live closer to the circus, and you'll find plenty. Or I'm in
the circus now.
Yeah. We're in the circus, all right. All right, look, we got to go. So here, one last look at V, and I want everybody to join next week. What is that? The
TLBtalk.com, ladies and gentlemen. TLBtalk.com. This is in the description here, right here. That's my URL. Come say hello to me. On my platform.
For those who don't know, I forgot. I'm sorry. For those who don't know, it's an actual platform like Facebook, but you can actually say things and not be punished for speaking your mind within the law. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So you are very active on that, and that's how people can find you and message you and join up with you on tlbtalk.com/users. If you look up TLB Talk, it'll show up, and then you just look for V. There's that face. You can't miss.
Well, you gotta make a profile. You gotta sign up, make a profile, then you can talk to me.
And it's free, right? Or how? Donations free? I don't know how it works.
It's free to join, but if you'd like to help us, pay the bills. I mean, it's a network for the people, by the people. Okay, so it's user funded. There's no government or corporate entity telling us to do anything.
No commercials.
No commercials.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you'll be able. We'll push that again next week too. And I apologize. I told you we were going to talk about that at the end, but everything, like always, gets out of hand, and it's going to be another hour and a half show. Here I go. All right, man. Look, I appreciate it. Appreciate you making the time, and we will see you same time next week right here talking about your creepy, paranormal experiences or whatever the hell you got up your sleeve. I'm ready to hear because you've been telling me this for 2 years. I need to hear it, so I'm going to sit back and let you explain and hope I understand.
All right, thank you.
All right, wave to everybody. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the radio talk show host from the Red Pill Hardcore Show on hiatus in the States, getting ready to do a bunch of stuff that I don't even know what the heck he's doing, but he's here for a reason, so I guess he's making waves. I'll see you later, brother.
Thank you.
Yep. We always get, when you're trying to catch up with somebody you haven't spoken to in a while, and especially with him because he's into all these things, I'm having to jump and get all over the map again. And here's to a good conversation. Woo! Smooth. Again, one more time, next Wednesday, November 1st, post-Halloween show. V's going to join us one more time to talk about his paranormal experiences that he's personally encountered that I have no idea what he's going to say. I told him to save it for the show. I don't even want to know, and I trust because that he's going to have something interesting because, again, he knows things that above our normal chit-chat. So join him next week with me right here on this show. I want to remind everybody, once again, please go to YouTube's, Facebook's, LinkedIn's, all these platforms, Rumble, BitChute, all the audio. If you're busy, I appreciate you trying to pay attention to the show, but you can take the show on the road, put an earbud in your ear, Google Peter G Show Podcast, the audio version of these shows. While you're driving, while you're at work, while you're jogging, exercising, all the above, it's the next best thing to watching the show. I know it takes a ton of commitment to watch this show because it's long, but it's worth it to a lot of people. Now, I'm going to get some people, and I always, again, you can't please everybody, but we're here, we've been here, and we're going to be here, God willing, every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, right here. So please, subscribe, though. That's all I ask. I let everybody know that somebody's paying attention. I get a lot of people that pay attention, but they don't commit. And it's free. Just subscribe, please. All right? Lastly, all I'm asking you is to be kind. Life is a bitch. We are more and more the struggle of surviving financially. How the hell we're getting through it. We talk about these things from time to time. And as we get into the holidays here, we're going to be talking about getting through the holidays. A lot of people have hard times, but life is a bitch. And it gets very frustrating. And there's a lot of mean people out there. And, it's tough. So please be kind, take a breath before you speak. And by all means, like I said, you don't have to take a bunch of crap from people, but you don't have to be an ass either. All right. Life is short. So please just handle it. We'll see you here next week. Again, I appreciate you more than words can say for taking the time. I know life is full of choices. All right. My name is Peter G. You're watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday right here, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. So, as always, I love you guys, and peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad.